And so Techpoint reached out to me. He told me, explained to me what Pitch Friday was, and he said, how it functions. Founders of new startups, and asked me to share the key things you should look out for when you're building your team for the first time, right? So I have a few slides, but I plan to do more of talking and engagement, right? So I'll just go right ahead and launch into it. Thank you. Okay, so this is Weyinmi's complete guide to hiring for tech startups. First slide. Okay, so first of all, right, there are a few peculiarities in the tech startup space that you won't necessarily see in traditional industries, right? I think we can all agree that even the business model of tech startups, and a lot of times the business strategies that we use to grow is quite different from what you find in traditional industries. So this definitely affects something like hiring, right? When you're hiring for the first time, most likely, most certainly, because you're a small company, your resources are limited, right? And then because this is your first set of employees, the stakes are high. Because the first set of people you bring into your company will help to drive the culture, they will help to determine the culture for better or for worse, right? And also you have limited resources. Things we see in the tech startup space. Things like, so for people in my profession who do HR for startup space, a lot of times when companies are looking for heads of HR or senior HR professionals, they'll ask you, do you have experience with scaling? What does that mean? It's only in the tech space you sometimes see that, so you found a company, you are able to push out your product, you see some traction, you pitch to VCs, they give you $3 million, and then just like that, you need to go from being a team of 15 to being a team of 50 or sometimes even 100 in 6 months, right? That really only happens in the tech space. In traditional industries, there's really a need for you to scale your workforce so rapidly in such a short amount of time. But it's really because of the uniqueness of the space, which by the way I very much enjoy, right? Collecting money from investors, you have to hit the ground and everything has to start happening. So you have to consider all these peculiarities when you're thinking about hiring for tech startups. Right? So this is the first thing I will ask you to do. Be very clear on your vision. And I think if you're already at the stage where you're pitching to VCs, then probably for many of you, this is not, it's going to be a no-brainer, right? Be very clear on what it is you're trying to achieve as a business. What does success look like for you? What are the problems you're trying to solve? Very important. One of your first employees, so this person is going to be very much involved in your business and be able to have significant impact. But they don't even buy into your vision, they don't believe in it. Or if maybe they are somebody who maybe doesn't know much about climate change, but they are open to learning, or you can see that they are passionate about other things in their lives, right? So that then helps you know that, okay, I need to focus on these kinds of individuals because this is the kind of business I'm trying to do, and these are the kind of problems I'm trying to solve. So you need to be clear, right? These are the kinds of people I'm going to need because these are the kinds of problems I'm trying to solve. Okay, thank you. You can move to the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few things you should note when you're trying to hire for your startup. The first thing I'm going to say, and this is very, very important. I know some of you are engineers, and so maybe there's the temptation to sort of focus on technical skills. I need someone that can write those lines of code. I need a really good UX person. I will encourage you to hire for soft skills. Why? 2 major reasons. First, let me piggyback on what I said earlier. The first set of people you hire will, for better or worse, help to drive your company culture. They will set the tone of your company culture. Their behavior, their personality, their character is very important. If the first 5 people you hire are very laid back, the kind of people that don't like stress. I mean, nobody likes stress, but they are super laid back. Their attitude to work is, I cannot come and kill myself. They are very good technically, they know their work, but they are not the kind of people that go above and beyond. Guess what? You are in trouble because they are going to set the tone of the organizational culture. So by the time you hire 10 more people to come and support them, they will teach them like, oh, here, we don't stress ourselves like that. It's not my father's business. I will do the one I can do and then I'll move on. So I know that nobody here would like to have that kind of culture, right? Am I correct? You want people who will be passionate about your business. You want people who will help you to support your vision and drive towards achieving your goals and objectives. So the soft skills are super important. Another reason I'll tell you to focus on soft skills is because I can tell you for free as a HR professional over a decade, it is much easier to teach people technical skills than it is to teach people soft skills. So if you have to make a choice between hiring a UX person who is very good, knows the work, has the required experience, but has a terrible attitude, versus maybe someone who is young and upcoming, doesn't have as much experience, maybe not as good, it's far easier to teach people technical skills and to develop their technical skills if they are already sound or they already have solid soft skills. It is very difficult to teach someone to improve their soft skills. To start teaching somebody emotional intelligence, somebody that has attitude, a negative attitude, or just, character flaws, it's literally like you're trying to train that person all over again. It's literally like you're taking the place of your parents. It's hard. That's just what I'm trying to tell you. As a HR person, we sometimes have to manage individuals like that within the organization. And I'm telling you, it's hard. Especially if the person isn't convinced that there's anything wrong with them. If your technical skills are lacking, it's not a matter for debate, right? It is what it is. But by the time you're trying to explain to somebody that they have, they have a problem. Okay? Let me tell you that for free and save you a lot of stress. The next thing you should try and do is build a solid team of generalists. So everything, I spent a lot of role of being a generalist because in a tech startup, you don't really need specialists. Listen, everybody is going to have to get their hands dirty. Okay, so maybe they didn't hire you to do HR, but there's not yet a HR department. So you should be comfortable or willing or able to carry out some of those activities. Maybe there isn't yet a product marketing team. So you as the UX person, I keep using UX, I don't know why, you might need to step into that role a bit. You don't need somebody that will be coming to give you the energy of, well, that's not my job description. You don't need that. And you're at a point in your business where you cannot really afford, you may not be able to afford, to hire, all the experts that you need, or that you will need eventually. So you need to hire people and make it clear to them, by the way, okay? So during the recruitment process, please make it clear to them. Now listen, you're coming to work for a tech startup. Are you comfortable? We need people who are comfortable getting their hands dirty, working across multiple functions. Yes, we're hiring you to do sales, but from time to time we might need your help with planning events, we might need your help with helping to create and put out content and so on and so forth, right? So you need to make it clear at this stage of your hiring process, at the stage where you're just trying to get your startup off the ground, or hiring your first set of people, you need to make it clear to every single person you interview. Please, you are joining a startup. I know this is the job description we've given you, but because of where we are at this stage of our business, everyone needs to join hands together. Make it clear to them and make sure they are fine with it. You cannot afford to have people who only want to do one thing. It will set you back. Again, I promise you, trust me on this. Solid team of generalists, and make sure that the people you're hiring are open to doing this. Okay? Next slide. Okay, another thing you should do is make your hiring process short and sweet. You can't afford to have a hiring process with 8 stages, multiple rounds of assessments. While you're doing all of that, somebody else can swoop in, especially if it's a solid candidate. Close the deal with them in 1 week and you're left hanging, right? So give yourself the advantage of speed. So before they can think too hard and think too long, close out the process. If you can close it out in 1 week, great. So that you close out, you brought them on board. Let that be your advantage. Larger organizations that have a proper structure and all of that, they can do rounds of interview, especially if you're an employer that is somewhat desirable in the talent space, so people want to work for you, they'll be patient, right? Most people here, Google calls you to work and they tell you the interview is 15 stages. You will go through it in Google. But when you are not yet Google, that's the truth, you will go through it. But when you are not yet Google, please try to make your hiring process short and sweet, to the point, no too much, back and forth. You can't afford that, okay? Another thing you should try and do is offer non-cash or non-monetary benefits. Some of these things will not cost you money. So for example, having a generous leave policy. Oh, okay, so for example, maybe most companies give paternity leave of 5 days. You can choose to say, okay, we can give you 4 weeks. Because most people in tech are young anyway, they don't really have kids, it's not so easy. But it's good to have. You might provide things like free lunch, which is very popular. So basically, non-cash benefits are popular in the tech space. And it can serve as an incentive, right? So really think creatively to join your organization. So things like flexible working, so that could be hybrid work, or it could be full remote work. Things like free lunch, leave policy, basically anything that can help to boost your reward package and make you a more attractive employer. So like I said, really spend time and think creatively around your non-monetary rewards, like you call it in HR. Next slide. This is super important. Employer brand. How many of you here are startup founders? Can I see your hand? Okay, have you had to do a pitch? Yes, great. So the reason I asked that question is, I know that when you're preparing for the pitch, you spend a lot of time storytelling, right? Figuring out how to tell the story of your brand, of your organization, what it is you're trying to achieve. And it's very important you get this right at the early stages. Because I always say, if you don't tell your story, other people will sell it for you. By the time you start putting your company out there, putting your name out there, and there isn't a tagline or there isn't something that people can connect to your business, people will create narratives for you, and trust me, you don't want that. Why am I spending all this time to explain all of this? Your employer brand from the get-go is important. We live in an era where, and some of you are Gen Zs, when you send someone, when you post a job advert or you send someone an email saying you for a job, they will go online, next thing they will do, they go online and try to find out about you, right? Please understand that everything you put out about your company, about your brand, whether it's relating to employees, recruitment, hiring or not, you are telling a story about your company. And so whatever story it is you're telling can either make you more desirable or less desirable to potential candidates. If you started doing marketing for your products, for example, and you have a social media page, please be very mindful that not only are you talking to your potential customers, not only are you creating an impression of your brand for potential customers, you are also doing the same for potential employees as well. Your employer branding is super important. We have seen people leave organizations and take a pay cut. Why? I just really want to work in this place. They've done a great job with the employer brand. I've seen it happen in the tech space. As much as they say, oh, Gen Z, they like money, they like job, everybody likes money. But I have seen people leave their jobs and take up jobs in other organizations for less pay. Because those companies have done a fantastic job with their employer branding. They've heard great things about it being a good place to work, or a good place to learn, or a good place to grow your career. Your employer brand will sell you even before you find yourself, even when you are not in rooms and spaces where you are able to sell yourself. Okay? Your employer brand will sell you. So please be very mindful. Everything, leverage storytelling and product marketing activities. So like I said, if you start marketing your product already, please be mindful that you are helping to create an employer brand already. So always have that in the back of your mind. Be very intentional about whatever form of communication, your website, what it looks like, even when you don't even have a career stage, what your website looks like, how fast it's able to load speed, it's telling people about your company. It is. think about this when you're coming up with the logo, brand colors, fonts, everything tells a story about your employer brand, about you as an employer. So please be very mindful. It's a free way, or no, let me not say free, it could be a way for you to synergize and achieve multiple, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be a way for you to synergize and, let me say, kill multiple birds with one stone. So, you build a great brand, you're thinking, okay, this is so that, I can attract customers, but you are also potentially attracting investors, employees, so on and so forth. Avoid flashy rock stars. What do I mean by flashy rock stars? This is a bit sensitive, but let's talk about it. How many of you have heard the phrase personal branding? Can I see your hand? Personal branding. When I was graduating from uni, nobody was talking about personal brands. I finished university very, 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 very long time ago. There was no WhatsApp. Many of the social media platforms still exist. There was no Instagram. We had Facebook. That was about it. Right? So this whole era of personal branding, it was not a thing. But it's huge now, and it's particularly huge in our space, in tech space. There are many people who have done a fantastic job of building a personal brand, especially online. They have many followers, they get many likes, they're always tweeting threads. Everything they tweet gets retweeted and retweeted. They are friends with all the fellow influencers. There's something now called the celebrity professionals, a thing, right? This person is famous or well known, not because they are in the entertainment industry, not because they are a content, well, some of them then cross over into content creation, but they didn't start there. But because, we know that this person works for so company, or this is what this person does in the tech scene. Now, all of this is not a bad thing. However, if you are drawn to or thinking or considering hiring somebody who is based on the fact that this person seems to be very well known, they have plenty of followers on Twitter and on LinkedIn, they seem to be connected to all the right people, I beg of you, do your due diligence and find out that they actually have the competence and the skills to excel on the job, or even to carry out the job that you're hiring them for. We've seen so many cases of these celebrity professionals that can't perform that job. They are good at branding themselves. Based on the brand, they get into an organization. They don't stay for long because they can't perform. They leave, or they won't update their LinkedIn. They will leave the LinkedIn after a year. Then they just basically leverage their fame and they just bounce around from place to place. And they have a way of packaging themselves very well. You see them, they're always up and about, collecting one award or the other. Some of these awards are based on, let me not say. So, I'm not saying that the fact that somebody is well known and popular doesn't mean they are not competent. I'm saying don't assume it's a guarantee that they are. Don't use Twitter likes as endorsements. Do your due diligence. These people tend to be very expensive. They tend to be people that maybe you're hiring in a leadership position, or you think they are highly skilled, and so they will come in and be able to achieve multiple things for your company. Do your due diligence. That's all I want to say. Next slide. Okay, final slide. So these are 3 things I'll quickly say to you. Number 1, actively participate in ecosystem events. I don't know how many of you know, Techpoint Africa is having a fintech summit next month. Things like that, try and participate. You get to meet people, you get to network, you're talking about your business. Remember what I said, every time you're talking about your business, you're also building your employer brand. So it can be that you got on the stage and gave a presentation, or just from your interaction, somebody had an impression. Maybe you're wearing a t-shirt with your brand on it. Is that your brand? Okay. Awesome. That's a fantastic way of advertising yourself and your business. Go for ecosystem events, meet people, engage. What that does for you, especially remember what I said about keeping your recruitment process short and sweet. You might find that you're meeting people, that would end up being a great fit for you for certain roles you want to hire. So it can literally be as simple as a conversation, and you bring them on board. Why? Because you've already met someone that's the right fit. You don't have to start going through the stress of trying to advertise and sifting through hundreds or sometimes thousands of CVs. You don't always have that time. Please be very active in ecosystem events. Okay? You will network. You will gain a lot. As soon as you are able to, as soon as it makes sense to, build a team of people, professionals, and by that I mean people of culture, as we call it in tech, or a HR team, as it's called in other organizations. If you can't build a HR team, at least hire one HR person. Okay? Have somebody whose job or responsibility it is to handle everything to do with your people. Because the way you manage your people is also very important. I had said this earlier at a conversation I had with Techpoint some months ago. I said, there's this thing that happens in the startup space too often, where companies don't have a HR team, and they're growing, and then they get to a stage where they have a certain number of employees, and people are starting to ask questions. How will my career grow? How is my performance being evaluated? What is your policy on this? And you're like, oh my God. And then there's almost a revolt, and then at that point they start running around looking for a HR person, and then they hire one, and you're walking into a storm of very angry people who want answers to multiple things, and they want those answers yesterday. By the time you have up to 20 employees, consider hiring one HR person. It will save you a lot of stress, I promise. I promise. I'm not marketing my profession to you. I'm speaking from a place of experience. It will save you a lot of time that you should spend doing other things. You don't want to spend it doing people issues. People will keep coming to your office with their problems, with their issues. And that takes time away from time you should be spending being productive. That's the actual fact. And human beings, like the famous economist said, our needs are unlimited. They don't end. Insatiable. Thank you. Adam Smith, founder of economics. Human needs and wants are insatiable. So people it's going to be a constant. By the time you have a certain number of people will constantly be coming to you for one issue or the other. Have somebody whose job it is to handle all of that. Let them start building policies and processes. Put proper structures in place with regards to your people and help you manage it. It takes a lot of your team. Finally, this might be tough initially, but from the get-go, always try and aim for. And I will tell you why. If your pay is not considered competitive, and by competitive I mean, so there's a field in HR called compensation and benefits, or remuneration and benefits, or total rewards. And that just has to do with, it's basically about making sure you put your money where it matters with respect to rewarding and compensating your people. Try and find out what the competitive market rate for roles are within your industry. Now, a pay structure or a pay scale of a company is considered to be competitive when you're paying at a minimum of the 50th percentile of the market. Sorry to get a bit technical. What that just means is that, so there's something HR people do, we call it a compensation survey, where we gather data. A lot of consulting firms that do HR consulting do this, right? So they go to different companies, they invite them to participate in the survey, they gather their data, so pay elements across different levels, different scales, TCC, total cash compensation, which equals your cross salary and maybe any bonus or equity, pension, everything. And then they come up with a range of figures and they split them into percentiles from the 10th percentile to the 100th percentile. So paying at the 10th percentile means you're at the lowest level. Paying at the 100th percentile means you're at the highest level. Am I making sense so far? Paying at the 50th percentile is considered competitive. So paying anything less than 50th percentile is considered non-competitive. However, the primary thing that determines your pay philosophy, which means the range you choose to place yourself, is your ability to pay. You can't bite off more than you can chew, but always be conscious of what equity is in your industry. And the second you are able to, so for example, as an early startup, you might not be able to pay at 50% down. Maybe what you can do is pay at 30% down, and then be creative about your perks and be intentional about building your employer brand so you can attract people. However, the second your business starts to pick up traction, revenue, or your valuation is going up, please consider moving your pay scale to something more competitive. Why? If you don't do that, the truth is that your people will leave. Now you can argue that, oh, the tech space attrition is high. Yes, but when you see a company that doesn't pay competitively, the attrition is way higher than is normal even in tech. And we're in an industry where your business continuity matters. If there's anything you can do to make sure that in an industry where, like we said, we have high attrition, let's say the average span of a worker's life cycle in an organization is 2 years, you don't want your average span to be 6 months. And that's what will happen if you're not paying competitively. So everybody, you develop a reputation, they won't tell you, nobody will tell you, but you develop a reputation in the ecosystem as, okay, this is a place you should go to learn. The second you finish learning, you pack your rally and you go, because they don't pay. That's the reputation you will develop. So the second, I'm telling you this because I've seen this again over and over in Texas. The company has grown, you've grown to a point where you can afford to pay competitively, but you are still putting yourself in 20 or 25%. You will lose people. They will go. Yes, passion is important, connection to your purpose is important, but people also have bills to pay. And they know what the market is paying. They have friends in other organizations, they have family members in other organizations. They know what is competitive. Nobody likes to feel like I could be doing the same work somewhere else and getting paid or significantly more. So aim, that's why I said aim for equity. If you are not able to be equitable off the get-go, let it be a goal, let it be your OKR. The same way you have OKRs for your product in terms of maybe improvements you want to make, features you want to add, number of downloads, let it also be a goal that you're aiming towards, okay? Equity, rewards equity, and fair pay. So with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to take them. Yeah.
So I'm very much interested in managing difficult talents. So for example, you have like a standard that you want to attain, and then there's someone with soft skill, but the work is meant, and then there's someone that is difficult. Is there like strategies that you put in place that can manage difficult people with exceptional talents?
Okay, so I mean, these things have to be taken on a case-by-case basis. So it's very difficult for me to give a blanket answer, right? If you come up to me and you have this conversation with me, then there are lots of follow-up questions I will ask you. I will be asking you questions so that I can understand the context. Okay, so the person that is exceptional, what's their role? What do they do? How many people, how many stakeholders within the business are directly connected to the work that they do? How many people's work do they impact? If they don't do their job or they are being difficult, how many people's work is it delaying? How long will it take this person? When you say this person is not that great, how long will it take them, do you think, to build? Have you had an honest conversation with the person? But sometimes we feel uncomfortable having difficult conversations. Okay, so sometimes I say leaders are part of the problem. The person that has a great attitude or good soft skills, do they know? Have you had a conversation, an authentic conversation with them? Say, I think you're great, I think you're a great culture fit, but I need you to improve in so technical area. And give a timeline. So, and then I need you to improve. And so maybe improving means you have to shadow this other person that is great. Or I have to send you on a few certification courses, or give you some additional, some specific projects or tasks that are the way of stretching or helping you improve. And then in 6 months' time, we can have a conversation and I can see. So you need to, so I'm trying to say generically now because I don't have the proper context, right? And the proper nuance to know exactly what's going on. But generally speaking, I would say have an honest conversation with that person. Let them know that you need them. You love having them on your team, they're a great culture fit. You start by saying everything that's wonderful about them. And then you tell them these are the specific technical areas. And because it's easier to have conversation about technical skills, you may not be surprised that there may not be a lot of pushback because the person probably has an idea that they are not where they could be in terms of technology. Have a plan, a performance improvement plan. Like I said, whether it's sending them to training, whether it's having them shadow somebody that is better and giving them projects to stretch them, have a plan in place. The other person that is difficult, again, it can be hard having these conversations, but it's important you document it. So whether it's a conversation followed by an email as we discussed this, that. And by the time we've had 2 or 3 of those conversations followed by email, if after a period of time you're not seeing improvement, then you might have to make a difficult decision. But before you take that difficult decision, make sure you've done everything you can to help the person who is less technically sound to improve. Have I answered the question?
Okay, thanks for the presentation. My question is actually, what would you advise on getting people to join, sign up on equity partnership?
Okay, I mean, it's very common within our industry, right, to offer equity. It's not a bad strategy. I'll just say I don't want to use the word careful. I'll say be intentional about how much equity you are able and willing to give people. We heard the story of, and I won't mention this, but there's an African unicorn that we heard stories about how, after, the business became successful, they were doing insider trading, and things like that happen because you give equity initially to attract people, and then the business does maybe far better than your expectations, and you're suddenly thinking, I gave these people too much equity. So because you believe in yourself and believe in your vision and believe you'll be successful, it's not a bad thing to offer equity, but please try and be intentional about exactly how much equity you offer, something that you're comfortable with. Think of the best case scenario. If I become a unicorn less than 5 years from now, will I be comfortable paying out this much, giving people this much equity, having people own this much equity? So that's just the question I would say you should ask yourself.
Okay, even if it's going to be vested.
That's another, so these are the things. If it's going to be vested, how long? 3 years, 2 years, 5 years. These are the conversations you need to sit down and have with yourself. It's not a bad strategy. Just be intentional about it and give people what you know you are comfortable with giving.
All right.
Good evening, and thank you for the presentation. You said earlier that when, as a startup that doesn't have a lot of money to hire, you should make it clear to people that you're being hired for this role, but it's expected that you do 1 or 2, maybe more things as required. Doesn't that then take away from the person's ability to focus on their primary assignments in the startup?
Yes and no. And the reason I'm saying that is because we know that sometimes, depending on what the person is doing, we know that some roles or job functions can be cyclical. So if you're a payroll analyst, the truth is you're very, very busy the last 10 days of the month, right? But the first 10 days of the month, your workload might be a lot less. And meanwhile, the comms team needs help. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a way you can, because you should keep track of everyone's workload. When you have a really small team, it's not a very difficult thing to do. Be mindful and be aware of everyone's workload, such that you are not overburdening people their ability to perform their job. But the reality is, in a small company, in a startup, people need to have a mindset of, I'm willing to help out, I'm willing to do other things to help us move towards achieving our vision. And it's important you're honest with them. Some people have worked in startups, they know how things go, some have not. So that you're not taking anybody by surprise or nobody is feeling, cheated. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. So I wanted to ask around in terms of if an employee doesn't do well. Is it okay to lash as an employee in a general meeting when you have a couple other people working, or should it always be private? How should you handle that? So maybe at a stand-up in the morning, somebody was supposed to have delivered on something yesterday, and then the person comes today saying, oh, I meant to reach out to this person. I mean, these are things that they have talked about multiple times. And at this time, maybe there are so many other pressing things, you're really, really angry. Should you ever lash out at that person in that call with everybody, or must you always make sure that you're doing it in private with the person, and how should you handle that person?
That's a good question. So the word that is a bit problematic is that word lash out. So that phrase lash out.
Okay.
It might be valid to give somebody feedback on their non-performance in the presence of other stakeholders. Because, again, context matters. So I'm very wary of giving general advice. So let's try and speak generally. There are scenarios where you don't want a scenario where there's someone that is consistently underperforming, and other people whose jobs are affected by that seem to have the impression that the leader is not doing anything about it. The leader is not saying anything. If the conversations are always private and one-on-one, there's a possibility that they might be in an impression that you don't care or you're not doing the same anything. However, I won't say you should lash out.
Okay.
You can give constructive feedback that is fair, that is honest, in front of stakeholders. So not random people who their work is not directly connected or impacted by this person that is not performing, and you're just doing it in a way that is very cruel to embarrass them in front of the entire organization. No. But if it's a meeting that has stakeholders whose job is directly or indirectly connected to what you're doing and is affected by your non-performance, it's fair to clearly and accurately articulate the challenges or the issues that you have. Make it clear how their inactions or non-performance is affecting other people. And but don't lash out. Okay? You can communicate without lashing out. Am I making sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Do you have a question?
Yes, it's a follow-up question about the equity. So I wanted to ask what's the minimum percentage of equity you should offer a non-ideal partner?
That's a hard question. There is no minimum per se. Like I said, you understand your business, right? You know what space you're playing in, right? If you're building a climate change tech in Nigeria as against the fintech app, you should have some sort of idea of the kind of maybe revenue or growth you're expecting for your business. So I would say, based off of your projections, look for a number that you are comfortable with. And
Well, it's very difficult for a startup.
let me land. And remember what I said about equity within your industry. So ask questions. You may not be able to afford to buy the data from KPMG to say, because they have very robust data, but you pay for it, it's not free, right? And they have the numbers, they can tell you. So while there is no need, so technically speaking, the truth is you can pay whatever it is you want to pay. Like you can offer people whatever it is you want to offer them. But you have to look at the industry, what are other people paying? And that's what a remuneration survey does. And remuneration surveys also include elements such as equity, right? So if you have access to that data, you will know what's happening in your industry and you base off of say a minimum. Now if you don't have access to that data, then ask around. Use your network, right? Am I making sense?
Yes.
Use your network, ask questions, go to industry events like I said, go to the FinTech Summit, and ask other people questions. Try and forge relationships. When you have relationships with people, they can be a bit more honest and not feel like, oh, your potential competition. Think of asking questions. Okay, if you are building a fintech product, maybe start by asking other people that are doing well that use SaaS products and not direct competition, but still within the tech ecosystem. Hey, when you first started, what kind of equity did you offer? Speak to a couple people. That will give you an idea. So it's your own way of doing like a rough compensation survey and gathering data. And then off of that, you can take a decision. Yeah?
Thanks so much, Weyinmi.
I have one question.
Okay,
Very brief and very short. It's in terms of like equity. So is having the buyback option a red flag? So for instance, you are giving a new employee some equity and there's a period of okay, there's a buyback option. Is it a red flag?
My simple answer would be not necessarily. First of all, if it's relatively common in your space to have that buyback clause, it's not likely to be a red flag. because then everybody knows, okay, this is normal. If it's less common, they might want to know the why is there a buyback clause. So it really depends on how well you can frame your response to that why question. Am I making sense? If your why sounds valid, like, oh, okay, I just want to give you the option in case there's a way you can phrase it so that it doesn't come across like a red flag. Am I making sense?
Okay, so thank you so much, Weyinmi. That will be the last 3 questions. If you have more questions for her, you can take her number and you have to pay her. Thank you so much for that.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. Before he comes back, I'd like to say that when you come out to pitch, X marks the spot. So please plant your feet here. Thank you. Those pitching will have 30 minutes to pitch.
Everything.
Everything. 30 minutes for the pitch and the questions and answers. I believe you came here for the feedback that you can get from questions and answers. So if you choose to spend 28 minutes pitching, you have only 2 minutes for questions and answers. How you manage your 30 minutes is entirely up to you, but I guarantee you will not spend more than 30 minutes there.
30 minutes. So go ahead. I will not.
Is it 30 minutes or total?
Every single thing. So I will advise you to pitch in 2 or 3 minutes and take questions. If you take more than that time, I will. If you want to announce it, there's not me. So I'll be stepping aside very soon, and today we have 3 people pitching with us. So we have the second woman all year, Olumide. So she's the second lady that's here in line. And then you can register. Alright, so like I was saying, Olumide will be teaching a lot. She's going to be the first person to come. So, Olumide.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Alright, good evening, everyone. I'm Weyinmi Barber, I'm the founder and CTO of Alert and developing countries in Africa. An instance is Nigeria, where thousands of lives are lost yearly, not being able to get in touch with the right authorities for help when in distress or track a missing loved one. While I was commuting to work sometime last year, I found myself stuck in a crisis I could have prevented, even though I've been warned of it or notified of it as little as 2 minutes ahead of time. And as you can imagine, all day after getting to work, I wish I had known about this earlier. You see, that's the issue we are trying to resolve here. Insurgencies, crises, emergencies, they do not give a heads up before they strike. But once they do, we find out that a lot of people leverage their social media platforms to either notify and warn their friends that, oh, something is going down at $30 Bridge, or something is going down at Computer Village. You guys should be aware and stay clear of that. So either post it or tweet it. This is very good because it gets the word out there, but it doesn't necessarily notify those that are headed in that direction. It also doesn't guarantee that the right authorities will be, contacted immediately. It might take a lot of retweets before this information goes around. So this is what we are building Alert to solve. And next. So what we currently do, and what we're doing in Alert is we offer safety as a service to citizens of countries with high level of insecurity. And how we've been able to achieve this is we built an application that allows for safety threat reporting and notification. It connects users to the right authorities in a distress. It could be as little as, oh, you're stuck on Dublin language and you need a full service. Or as high as, oh, there's a fire you can see. A building is under fire, a place or something like that, and you need the fire services to be contacted immediately. Followers. And next. So currently our target markets are users, individuals that are capable of using smart devices. If you can use Twitter, you can use Alert. We call Alert your Twitter for safety threats. And so if you're talking of using smart devices across sub-Saharan Africa, and next, and how we know this is a very wide space, we intend to start concentrate growth by focusing in Lagos, then move on to other major cities in Nigeria, then beyond from that. So what we've done so far is we have been able to send over 100 alert notifications to them to additional safety benefits and have access to certain features if they are a subscribing user. Other ways includes ERS service commission as well as sales of tracking devices. So we reckon that we depend on our phone a lot, but there are times when there are situations where a person might be in distress and they do not have a phone or your mobile device with you. So being able to have a physical gadget or device that enables you to send this distress as well as tracks your location as well. So this is one of the things we intend to be able to do. So currently Alert is the first of its kind in Nigeria here. And other applications doing something similar, very similar to this is Citizens. Citizens is currently targeting the US market. Recently we also heard about Namola. Namola is targeting the South Africa. It's currently based in South Africa. And we also have Twitter. We all know Twitter, we all use Twitter here. Yeah, well the issue about Twitter is you can literally tweet it, but it doesn't mean help is going to be on the way. And neither does it. You might notify your friends and following, but others that are headed in that direction, there's a huge gap. So we also have Signal, but Signal is majorly medical help. It gets you help if in distress, that's on a personal level, but it doesn't necessarily notify the larger audience. Thank you. You skipped one. Okay, so currently we have it live on Play Store. We're currently working on having it open on App Store, and thereafter we intend to run partnership pilots with security and medical emergency responders, as well as rebrand and have support for toll service and USSD support. So these are other things in the works which we intend to achieve from now to 2023, Q4 2023. I'm Weyinmi Barber. I'm founder and CTO. I'm technical, and working with me is Irose and Daniel. The team has actually quite expanded. We have a lot more people in content, in design, and PMs. There's more working as volunteers right now at the moment because we cannot afford to have them fully in. Okay, so we are currently in our pre-seed stage, very early, but this will enable us actually build a solid product, be able to make payments for other incorporations and business development, as well as it will also enable us build more brand awareness. That's to acquire more users and achieve monthly recurring revenue as we scale up. So thank you so much for your time. I'm Weyinmi Barber. If you have any questions, do let me know. And if you'd like to be a part of the team, also thank you.
Okay, maybe I did not promise you that I'm back, but I'm back. Okay, so she did that in under 10 minutes. So that means she has 20 minutes to take questions and answers. Can you understand that?
Yeah.
Sorry, just before you continue, this might be a good time to tell you to head over to fintech.techpoint.africa. If you register now with the regular ticket using the code Pitch Friday, like in capital letters, and it's just one word, Pitch Friday, you get a 50% discount.
What do you call it again?
fintech.techpoint.africa. So you register now for the fintech summit.
Fintech.what?
Fintech.techpoint.africa. No, that's fine. If you register, that's fine. So yeah, if you're here, that's the discount you get. So register now and you get 50% off. So
okay, so should we jump into the Q&A or should I give you 30 seconds to register? If you haven't registered, start registering. register. Okay, so we have 22 minutes for questions and answers. If you have a question, I'd like to see your hand so that we can know who comes before you. One, okay, we have one left. Any other questions? Two, three. Any other questions? Once I'm done taking the numbers, that will be the end of it. So we have one, the gentleman in the car. 2 and 3. Any other questions?
Sorry, questions. What if one of the questions leads to another question?
It's a bit function of the question. So 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, my question is very simple. The market size, is it global market size or African size or Nigerian size? So,
Okay, it's more of African size.
wow.
That's the total available market is more of Africa, then the serviceable market is Nigeria.
Okay, now the second question is why did you have the app finally be able to access the platform?
Well, it's available on web browser, but you need the app you need either the app or at least to add the web browser app as a desktop. I don't know if you get that, so you can get notifications actually. But if you want to just scroll through and the likes, you can use your web browser.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's interesting. But during the presentation, I didn't really catch where you talk about how the signal gets to where it needs to get to essentially. So say maybe I'm in an accident, I need help very quickly. How am I sure, like, what is in place? And is there like maybe specific location, for instance, so maybe somewhere inside the group, where you really are in there and things like that, and they need help to how is that going to work?
So it's that location. When we also call you, that you can pick, get your location as well as the condition of the crisis in which you're currently in. You need to transfer the information to the closest emergency responder that we have within our network and that can dispatch. So we also keep track to know how far away or how close are they to you. So ours is to make sure that you are connected to them and then to get them to you. Theirs is to make sure you can easily or quickly, that's if you need further medical attention, get you to the closest hospital. And that would probably come at their own service charge. Or, yeah.
Number 3.
I think he asked one of the questions, and then are you maybe part of your medium-term growth to build an ecosystem of private responders aside from the government, because we all know in Nigeria it's really crazy.
Thank you for that. So when it comes to more of security, maybe there's a riot somewhere and the likes, we tend to usually on government and state authorities. But if it's medical, we want to more of partner with private emergency responders because this is more of their own company, it's their own business.
But then what's the distinction between using the normal state code and your app?
Okay,
since you are leveraging
on them too.
You are leveraging them.
Yeah, so it's all good. As it's we encourage
you don't
to
have
have.
to it's okay. You can go over and
Alright. So
it's a feedback, not really a question. It's a feedback. How do you intend to help yourself build a system whereby you don't have to rely solely on the public responders, like the police,
Yeah.
So you need to go on.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any follow-up questions? Okay, well, we have 1, 2, 3. So first. Where's the fourth one? Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
For me, I wanted to talk a bit about the naming as well. So when I heard the name, the only thing I thought about was a lot by women.
Yes.
And then, you came up and, it's like a lot, or, I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know if, maybe other thoughts went into, naming the company. and how you intend to take care of that. I mean, this is allowed, they have like a lot of money in terms of marketing, pushing the name out there. When I heard this, that is what came to mind. I wonder what you think about that and really how you intend to tackle that particular way.
Thank you so much for that. So this is one of the key things that we're trying to do. We're going to rename, took the name with it and rebrand as well. And this is still in first process for by January.
Yeah.
A new name. Yeah.
Okay, great. Looking forward to it.
Like the logo are kind of screens for
Yes, because the first thing is actually the emergency. If you the emergency files, forget that I know of a lot by Weyinmi, but that's not the first thing that came to mind.
Same here.
So
How do you pronounce it right now?
alert.
I don't think it matters that you
Thank you.
So from your pitch, you
As this, we really found that a lot of users that will probably be more interested. That's more of, they tweet a lot or they use their mobile devices a lot. Gen Z is like, so they are on Twitter. Content to put on social media and the likes is more of, awareness, just trying to be sure about.
So have you tried influencer marketing?
Digital marketing.
No, influencer marketing.
We're looking into that actually.
Oh, very well. I think it's something you should look into. Okay, let's talk after that.
Well, I think more of the network effect. So if this does what it says it is doing, I think that word of mouth will push it. You don't necessarily need influencer marketing for this. So this is about security.
It's your safety.
If it works for somebody and they see that this is like a necessity, so you want to make it like a lifestyle. Because I mean everybody in Nigeria literally needs it at the time. So if it works for one person, they will literally introduce it to another person. So what I would say, just ensure this does what you promise it to do.
See,
excuse me, please. We need to maintain some sort of order. If not, everyone can have a pitching and cut everyone.
oh, sorry, I just wanted to address something.
Maybe hold on, because she still has time.
So some questions. I was wondering, you didn't really say a lot about the integration to the emergency response services, right? So are they already on the platform on board there, or is this a conversation that are still having? How do you intend to keep the data on the platform up to date? So again, especially since you have a monetization plan, at some point people are going to pay for this service. So how do you ensure that at every point I know like this is real-time data around safety events that are going on around me? How do you also validate that the data that people are sharing to the platform is correct? I didn't really see exactly and verify because I didn't really see how you were going to pull data and constantly have fresh up-to-date data, which is to my next question. Is there any plan to integrate like AI and stuff to be able to pull data from different sources, Twitter feeds, this one, that one, and possibly maybe only pick from verified sources, exactly, things like that, and then integrate that into the software. Then for the monetization plan as well, so I mean, what exactly, because typical Nigerian, and it's partly why insurance doesn't do well in this part of the world, everyone's covered with the blood of Jesus, right? So why should I want to pay to get an alert? So I think that for the monetization plan, possibly maybe something around enhancing the subscription cover, so like maybe partnerships with HMOs or things like that. So HMOs in addition to first responders, because if you're in trouble actually at the end of the day, you probably want to realize hospital or this or that, and HMOs already have a system and a network that you can latch onto. So maybe like some emergency plan, if you get into an accident, you can go to the nearest and you are covered because you are paying part of whatever subscription cost you are paying already covers a certain amount. Also things like maybe find my friend or find my family. So a group of people might probably want to subscribe because in the event of anything, they can do a burst using your platform to like all my friends, so there's problem in this place, don't go to that place, that sort of thing. And then when we can also use the platform to check in and say, oh, I'm fine, I'm not there, I'm this. So instead of trying to check people on WhatsApp, check people on Twitter, if everybody knows that, look, if I subscribe here, if there's an emergency one, I can tell all my family at once. So they can also all check in and let them know that they are safe at once. I think just enhancing the value of your monetization plan, otherwise, why pay when they can cover themselves?
Thank you so much for that. Okay, so for the verification, currently we get the users are there, but it's not as though people are currently, we do not prefer anyone to be in a crisis. So, but what we do is more of notify them about things happening around them, and we're able to get this from verified sources. But as we scale up and we know that people are going to get, we're going to get more users on the platform, and there's this feature on, we've used Snapchat at a certain point in time. There's this filter that enables that the recording, it shows you your timestamp, basically, the time and the dates, as well as you're also alerting it to get your location. So this, all of this combined together will help us to know if this is actually verified before we put the notifications out there. And thank you so much for the feedback and the suggestions for increasing our benefits to make users consider us more for the subscription and benefits. There was another question I missed. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, we have one more question. There's a follow-up question, and then the contribution you said you wanted to answer that.
No, she has actually answered.
Okay, she has. Okay.
Thank you. That was fun.
Can you please keep the side talks down to the various minimum? Let's actually eliminate them.
Okay, left to me, I felt when looking about it, I thought we already made the name, like as long as there's the R and the likes. But when you're talking to people about, if I just said alert, you probably think alert by now, and we do not want that.
I actually thought it was bank alert.
Alert is actually different from the alert.
I'm telling you, I think we should stick with that. It rings a
Alright, so that's one concern. Then the second one is we are scared of, I don't know if there's any people person here, any legal backlash or like, you are terrible one, right? So that's why we're like trying to change the name. It's very early on. It's fine. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much for that. Next question.
Hello everyone. I'll wait for my slides to be put up. My name is Damilare Ololade. I am a software developer and I'm also the founder of Referrals, and I'll just basically give you a basic story of how we started this. So when we started our startup journey, we built a fintech app and we realized that all we're trying to solve is the same thing so many people are trying to solve, and we were trying to build business banking for businesses. Then we started the research of, okay, what are the major problems that these guys are facing? And 90% of the response we got is that these people need more customers, and about 10% of that response is that they need money in terms of like loans to improve their businesses. So we set out to help these people get more customers to their businesses, and how we figured that was through referral marketing. Please, next slide. So what are we trying to solve at Referrals? One is the fact that businesses want to acquire more customers, businesses want to retain existing customers, and businesses don't want to waste money on advertising. You see ads everywhere, and the least thing on your mind is to click it, except it like resonates with you so much. But you see businesses investing so much in ads. So we figured out referral marketing is one way we can help businesses improve acquisition, retention, and also build brand loyalty. Next slide, please. So our solution, first I'll explain our solution in stages. First, we have an API for startups and businesses that want to add a refer a friend feature in their app. So if you are a startup founder, you can talk to me or work on helping you to implement a referral feature into your app. And why is this important? You realize that, okay, first, it's easy to set up a referral. You can just set up Node.js. But the basic things about referrals is how your customers use it. So for instance, if you still use PiggyVest now, you see your PiggyVest referral code is 247H143 blah blah blah, and most times people don't get to share this code because you have to go to the app, copy it and everything. But imagine if your referral code is just your name on all apps. So for instance, I'm using Kayla and my referral code is Danny, and anybody I'm talking to, please join this app, just use my referral code. We understand that referral marketing works for big businesses. Kuda uses it, Flutter uses it. So we're trying to make it available for small businesses by providing APIs and plugins. So it's just easy for you to have a website and integrate the plugin. And if you are, for instance, a real estate company in Lagos, you can manage all your marketers whenever you bring leads and send rewards to them. The three major things we deliver for you is automation. You can set up a referral and investing so much time and money in the development team and all of that. Lead generation. So after you launch your campaign now, you need to start advertising it to people on our platform, since we also have a marketplace for people who are interested in referrals. We send out notifications to everybody on our platform. And also fraud protection, which is very important for people as faced it. Carrywise, the marketing team in Carrywise actually made a report a few days ago about how they were battling fraud when they launched your Carrywise thing. So this is just a short pitch about what we're building at Referrals, and I would appreciate any questions and also suggestions. Thank you.
Okay, that was very fast.
Yeah.
So, questions?
When I said sharp. We have 5 minutes. I'm sure we'll have questions for you. So, who bears the proverbial cards? We have one left, 2, 3, We have 1, 2, 3, and then of course the follow-up questions will come. Okay, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, you spoke about name specificity. Instead of having long numbers, you have name damage. So, but there are thousands of damages. So my point, because I was trying to like explain very short, it means that you can customize your name. Just like the same way you are on Twitter, and even if your name is Dami, for instance, my Twitter handle is Dami of Lagos. I have it there. So even if my name is Dami, I have like something to it, and which is like my identity. So and customize your referral. That's what I do. Thank you.
Three. I can still go. Okay, I run a business, a marketplace for cars. So now I don't sell those cars myself. You can place the cars on my platform, right? Then I have somebody who comes onto my platform, see the cars and contact you direct. Assuming I want to launch a referral, I want people to come refer cars on my platform. So, and this is it. The user manages their post. Right, so now I'm the admin, I control whatever happens, but the user manages their posts and all of that. If I want to launch this referral program, how do you think I can launch it or integrate it on my platform?
Okay, have you launched?
Yes.
How do you handle that now?
No, I don't. We don't.
You don't, but you're planning.
Yes.
Okay, so the way you handle that is to integrate our API. So we'll give you an API key and our documentation, and if you need us to set it up for you, we
can. The management aspect I'm talking about.
The management.
Yes. So this is it. The user manages their post.
Okay.
Now I don't know if they sell their cars or not. Basically, I know how many people that view the post, so possibly there are one or two persons.
How do they sell? Is okay. So for instance, what you do from an admin side, from the business side, is to issue referral codes to the marketers on your platform. So if I'm a marketer on your platform and anybody that wants to buy is using my referral code to buy as Dami. So whenever they purchase the car, maybe for instance 1 million naira, and there's a 10% commission. That's okay. So you know I brought this person, he bought a car of 1 million naira or 10 million naira, and giving me the 10%.
So basically what you are saying is, we integrate it, then have our users, which is our dealers, have access to it. They can set it up, share the referral code to people that, we recently launched this where you can like see a car anywhere, send us the picture or come to Canvas or do it. Then we try to like find a way, give you a credit or give you a little commission if there's any sales and all of that. Then those ones, me and my team manage those ones. So you as a user, you don't have access to it. Now, if I integrate the referral, so that is, I make it available to my car dealers to share it across all.
So you have a dashboard to manage your car dealers.
Yes.
Your car dealers have their own dashboard to manage their own referrals.
Yes.
So that's how it works.
To manage the referrals. Maybe we'll still talk more.
Okay, sure. I think it's a personal thing. We'll see how like the API works with your use case.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Alright, thank you. Any other questions? Alright.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't hear you mention anything about pricing. What does this cost?
Okay, sorry about that. So the thing is like I'm trying to prepare for a pitch and I'm trying to like revamp the pitch deck. So this is like something on the pitch. So in terms of pricing, we charge per month. So it starts from $10 for basic people who just did about 100 referrals. Maybe you just launched your MVP and you want to give out t-shirts to the top referrals every week or airtime to the top referrals. So it starts from about $10 to about 400. Companies like Flutterwave, for instance, that they have like larger database of, for instance, what's this called? Piggyvest. So it's very affordable. Yeah, size from $10. $10.
$1 naira instead of $1 naira, yes.
Because
okay, why not? Oh, yeah. For Nigeria, well, like I think our valuation is in dollars, and so many of our operational costs is in dollars.
But I wouldn't want to.
But if you come on, no, it's sure. You know, you go on, for instance, Jumia or Alibaba X or Express, and the price is in dollars, but it converts to the original naira rate for you. So it's as easy as that.
No, but most platforms, when you want to make a purchase, their currency, this thing, this, you just click your currency.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you are on Udemy, for instance, all your prices is in dollars, but once it shows your location from Nigeria, it converts to naira for you. So you don't even need to start cracking your head. So that's what we handle. I don't think
so. There's the currency part.
Okay,
but there's the settlement part. Am I settling you with a local payment partner? Or
sure, yeah, no, it's okay. So the conversation is around it. That's why I'm saying $10. Once you go on the platform I want to pay, it's going to show you naira to do it.
so it's a place back.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry, I wanted to ask from the payment one. Okay. Then two, whether you're doing your API for, I don't know if whether you get traffic from somewhere to help the clients or anything, that's two. Is it going to be easy to use, as easy as, let's say, WordPress or Facebook? Or is it, you must not be done to be able to use this?
So
can an old man use it? Can an old man use it?
So I feel the thing about building products is that it's a process. You don't just have something you want to be like easy to use. So our goal is to make sure that you can integrate Referrals with a single line of code. Because so you can pull up next slide. Okay, so these are like our market validation. There's a company in the United States called Growsoft, and that's like, yeah. So if you want to integrate Growsoft, you just need one line of code. But what makes Referrals different from Growsoft is that we're taking it further and bringing the referral value to small businesses. And we also have a marketplace. And the marketplace is to help small businesses. So for instance, I buy a shoe on Flutterwave store, and a business on Flutterwave store already uses Referrals because Flutterwave store has integrated Referrals. So anybody that buys that shoe from that store will get maybe, for instance, 100 naira commission. So on that referral agent app, they manage their rewards. So this is what none of these guys have. That's what we have. So it's a process. We have a roadmap. We know the problem we're trying to solve, but it's not just going to be built in deep.
So I have from around the market.
You have what?
I have questions around.
Okay, sure.
Is this a nice to have or is it a need to have?
So it's a need to have.
Why?
Because of people are looking for ways to get more customers. You see people investing in Instagram ads every day.
Can I just build it out? So this is a significant portion of my operations here. It's not like payments.
Yeah.
I need someone that is really, really good at payments.
Yeah.
What if I get some guys and tell them, build this stuff out for me?
Sure, that's why I say first, you need to invest in hiring developers. Like even before Referrals, apps have been referrals. But what gives us that advantage in the market is one, that for us to service small business with no code options. And two is the fact that even PDBs does not have that this is customized URL. So it shows how not so easy you think it is.
But what it is because they just don't think it's
an important problem.
No, we don't have a competition in Nigeria.
I think you do.
Okay, if you
because I watched the Nigerian version of Dragon. There's they're called Coupon. So what it does is that they help local restaurant stores, cinemas to get customers to generate
gift cards and stuff.
No, just to help them know that there's a discount in this restaurant.
Yeah. Is it like Loyster?
Yeah, I think yes. They had a pitch.
Okay, that's something.
Yes, they had a pitch on compliance there.
That's quite different from what
it's different from we were doing referral. They are doing coupons. So for instance, how a referral is different from a coupon is that, so they come to meet businesses and be like, please give us discounts so we can give people that come to our app. But what we do is referrals. So what they do, so you were not saying before. What they do is that they go to businesses and they talk to them and be like, please give us discounts so that when
No, they don't.
I'm just trying to say like you are encouraging businesses to give discounts.
No, so let's say Eco Atlantic and I'm giving let us take the example by location. You give a 50% discount, and then for some reason you just find out that we have the 50% discount, and then you put it on your website, and then people just go there. So every day, if you're like, let's say you're a regular shopper, you just want to know what's the same way people queue for Black Friday. I just go on the website and then I see, oh, these guys have a discount, and then I go buy from there.
So it's actually basically totally different from.
But I still think it looks like the nice business, but personally, so I'm looking at it from two angles. One, and you're trying to raise money for this. If your competitor in the US made 312k revenue in 2021, the US is a bigger market than Nigeria, and they could only make 312k.
Yes. So
how long have they been in the market?
About 4 years. So, and we also thought of that, and that is why we took it to the small businesses part, because as a small business you are processing transactions. As a startup you are handling per referrals in terms of individual invites. But in terms of like a small business, you are selling a shoe of 5k to give referrals of maybe like 1%, 10%. You are selling a property of X amount to give a particular percentage. You understand what I'm trying to say? Let me help you.
Okay, so you have a gentleman, should I please set up the WhatsApp account? Please do. Thank you. You have a follow-up question? Great. Let's take those two. We'll take a follow-up question and then we'll take yours. Are we good? Okay, so we'll take yours, we'll take a follow-up, we'll take yours, and then we'll take yours. Yes, please.
He has a conversation.
Yes, please.
Alright, so sorry, I'm trying to follow the money and I'm struggling. I guess a lot of people have already spoken about it, but I think let's step back to your addressable market. So you said small businesses, because really PiggyVest and the others can very quickly afford to write this code to have these customized URLs and your unique selling proposition that you already have. Right, so if the addressable market is small businesses, we know what Naira to dollar is saying. So even though they come to the site and it is Naira denominated, because at the back end you have set it to be benchmarked against the dollar, they will come in today and then they'll find that they want to buy something, 1 unit is 700 plus to $1, right? And then it's suddenly 70,000 to be able to buy. So again, I think the pricing, because what's the typical, for a small business in Nigeria, what's the typical margin that people make on their own, on whatever they are selling, for them to be able to cover out that kind of amount? But then I now also said, is it also because that's $10, you didn't really tell us what it covers? So for example, I don't know what that $10 is. Every time somebody uses your link, right, they are charged $10. I don't know what that $10 is. 100 links, like once 100 people create a referral code, that's $10. So something around the stratification of how this $10 will work, I think it will maybe give us a bit more clarity, but you may want to look at the dollar part. The final part of the question is, so who now handles settlements? It wasn't so clear. The whole point of referral systems is so that I can get something of it. So if everyone is doing that through your URL and on your system, at what point do they cash out their rewards, whatever their rewards are? Do they all need to centrally come to your platform to cash out, or does each, like, because he has bought a referral $10 thingy, when his customer now buys from him, he will now see, like, it just wasn't very...
Okay, so, sorry, I apologize for the rush page. So the part where of the $10 is for APIs, these are startups that are using the APIs, and APIs request is about 100, so you have access to 100 API requests for $10 as in like minimum for a month. But in terms of like small businesses, we charge like a very small commission, about 2 to 3% on like the referral bonuses that you are giving out. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
In addition to the $10.
No, as a small business, you're not paying the $10.
Just commission.
You're just paying a commission. So I think it's better to understand, like, we have two major customers, the startup and the small business. For the startup, you need our API. You don't need to use other, like, no code. You need our API so that when you integrate it, you can set up your own rewards. If you are a developer, you should understand how to use an API so handles the referrals. While your own so for instance, on Piggyvest, once you integrate the API, you handle the reward. So for instance, you give the person 1,000 naira into their safe lock. We don't have access to your safe lock. It's a developer that will integrate that. When this referral journey has been completed, give 1,000 naira in this person's safe lock. So what we do is to handle the referral technology aspect. In terms of like rewards, you determine the reward you want to give. Maybe for instance on carry wise they give they give you fee waivers, for instance. So then you set the condition that okay, once this referral process is being completed, you give the fee waiver.
So is that the 10? So is that our funds? What are they paying for that?
The API request.
Yes.
So for somebody that signs up on your platform and generates referral.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm starting the technology part.
Alright.
What are you charging the company that wants to be able to solve?
We are charging the company $10 for 100 API requests.
Why not integrate the payment structure into per referral instead of 100 referral getting a payment?
If it's per referral, I think if it's per referral, it's not scalable because okay, so if you have so money in your account and your money like has been exhausted, will the referral stop? So what we do is like there's a capped. It's just like API products. If you ever use an API product, it's like usually capped. That's how it
Follow-up question. Okay, you were on the phone.
Alright, so number one, I think it's a fantastic product, particularly because, for instance, in the product that we're building, referral is like the major part that is driving the growth, right? And right now we still haven't figured out how we want to take it on that. What you've talked about here seems to be something that can be plug and play, and then it basically just takes care of everything that is there. Now, one of the things you said, one of your pricing model is that you're charging commission based, right? I wonder how you then handle the case where the referral amount is not a substantial amount. So say for instance, if my referral amount is
sorry to cut you. So is what I said that I actually didn't, because I rushed the pitch, I did not differentiate the two major customer base we have.
Okay.
One is the startup and two is the small businesses. Okay. So as a startup, if you are giving t-shirts, for instance, as referral rewards, we can't charge on that. That's so we are not charging commissions for startups, just API requests.
Okay.
So for instance, it's when like as a small business, if you're using a local tools, that's when like if it's monetary, then we can charge on that.
In that case, is there going to be a minimum amount?
Yes, there's going to be like a minimum amount for businesses to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this live yet?
We just have the API live for startups institution.
How long?
About a month ago.
Okay. That puts it.
Okay, your follow-up question.
Well done. Really interesting speech. Okay, so we've said a lot today, and I'm not. You already have a fan, thankfully. I think he gets what you're saying, but I do not really get it. So I want to ask, like, what market survey did you do to validate this? Because just like you said, it's looking like a nice to have, it looks like an interesting thing, but I'm saying that if you can build a no-code solution, what is stopping businesses from doing that internally? That's on one hand, that's for startups. But you're now saying that you're majorly going to be targeting small businesses. And I'm asking, so these businesses are supposed to have a web page, right? These small businesses are supposed to have a web page. Is that correct? No, I'm asking. They are supposed to. So if they are, how many small businesses in Nigeria? I mean, ideal small businesses. How many ideal small businesses in Nigeria have web pages?
Yeah, I'll answer that. Is that one?
No. Then, based on your market survey, how many of the businesses you interacted with, because I believe you did, how many of them do you have on your wait list so far who are willing to actually pay for this?
Okay. So the first question,
market survey.
Okay, so the market survey was about like small businesses, and why we choose referrals before API before targeting small businesses. That is the API that will power that product. So we were like, let's build this API so that we can open source it for businesses. For startups to use. Why we use that API to build the business version. So even if we do not open up this API for startups to use, entirely we'll still use our own API to power the no-code tool for businesses. Because that's the question, right? That why are we focusing on startups when we could have just done businesses? Was that all businesses?
So I asked what market survey did you to validate this?
Yeah.
Now, how many of these businesses do you have on your wait list who are willing to actually pay for this?
Okay.
And then if you're claiming you're targeting small businesses, who ideally should have web pages where they would integrate the
Yeah, I was
API?
just answering the first question. Okay.
So if they need to have a web page, how many small businesses? Do you have the data? How many small businesses in Nigeria, in Africa?
Okay.
And I mean small businesses now have web pages where they can integrate.
Yeah, so
let me add one more question.
Okay.
So you know Bumper?
Yeah, I do.
And Bumper makes it like there's no way for you to build your own website.
Yeah.
So if 20% of Nigerian small businesses, how do you get to them?
So I'm actually in talks with Kelvin so that we can integrate Referrals on Bumper, and it's actually because of a use case like this. And we're also thinking of like one page. So the way you have a paystack payments one page instead of like a paystack store, we're thinking of introducing something like a Referrals pager. So even if you don't have a website, you can spin up a one-page referral thing and just put your product on it. And it's the same thing where we are trying to work on partnerships with e-commerce platforms and also like WordPress plugins too. So for instance, on Bumper, once we hopefully finish with the partnership, businesses on Bumper can launch their own referral campaign on Bumper and share that campaign to people who then join and do all that reward system.
In the event where Bumper possibly develops that, because I mean they have a web page, you are partnering with them. In the event where they now have
in the event of when they have that, I mean what to do a separate app for to plan rewards.
Taking you out of business.
The cross that bridge again. So it means PayStart storefronts will have to develop their own app to handle rewards. Flutterwave storefronts will have to develop their own. Bumper to have to develop their own, and every commerce will have to develop their own separate app for their customers.
It will take a long time, but what could happen to you? And then they just tell you what to do.
There's always
it could happen to you. So all these businesses are, they are not your competitors. But they could decide that this is something our customers like.
And integrating, they have the basic, they have the skeleton. You are like the they have the skeletal body. So I think
it's a choice thing.
You could actually build a more. So I like the fact that you are building an API infrastructure. It's good and you are targeting B2B. It's really fantastic. So you could build more things around that. API integrations for businesses. What else do businesses do? What else would they like a plug-in and play? What else? Like it would make it more robust. So it doesn't have to stop in just referral. You know, it would make it more robust, more sense.
Okay, so I wanted to write on what you just said because I was about to ask you how big. Why is you always mean that you want to speak? Because you want to be like. Okay, so I was about to ask you how big this could get because this is referral marketing, right? And it's just one part of the whole marketing process. So, but why I think this could be a good time to make this more robust is a lot of these tools are in the US or in foreign countries. And Nigerian businesses are facing a tough time with the forex crisis. So now might be a perfect time to bring up tools that can replace all these things. Tools that we normally use for Nigeria. So we wanted to launch a social media giveaway campaign, right? But we looked at all the tools, we saw the pricing, we thought of how much we're going to have to pay. Then where do you find the dollar to pay it, right? You have to go to this Allen. Sorry, I'm pointing around. Yeah, we have to start looking for dollar to actually pay for all these services, right? People managing social media giveaways. So how do you manage all the giveaways on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn? How do you track everything? How do you make sure these people are performing the tasks they are performing? Then that referral link that you give them when they perform that task, how do you track those who are productive? How do you create a leaderboard to see those people who are the most productive customers? So it could grow a lot bigger and valuable for a lot of businesses. If you decide to focus on just startups, it will be very, very big. If you decide to focus on small businesses, like you mentioned, it will be very, very big. But I think now is a very, very good time to develop solutions that people can pay with Naira.
Yeah. I think it's the infrastructure first and how we're trying to do it.
Okay, so thank you. We will take 2 more questions. Your question and your question, and I think that will be it. And please, can we keep the questions down to 1 each?
Sure.
And
mine is more like a touch-up to him.
Can you?
He has been receiving a lot of things.
Whatever I want to say, let's say it in 30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay. Okay, good day everyone. Yeah, my name is Joshua. Okay, I'd like to clear the air about what he's talking about. Some people were confusing.
Are you his co-founder?
No. Some people are actually confusing what he's doing with the coupon kind of stuff. Now, the truth is, what he's doing is getting a progressive kind of reward, right? That you can accumulate and redeem them. But a coupon thing, you get a one-off. And let me say if it's 5 naira off, it's just 5 naira off, and that's all, you can't get it again. But him, if they're giving you 5 naira, you can accumulate 5 naira, 5 naira, 5 naira, 5 naira. It gets to 1,000 naira, and you cash it out. That's one. Then 2, about the the person that is the business, right? He provides an infrastructure, an environment, right? Just like a shopping complex. The landlord provides the building and rents it out to people, and those people provide what they want to sell inside the building. So it's not his problem what to give to your customer. You can give them 1 cow, you can give them a ram, it doesn't concern him. It just makes it possible for you to transparently carry out that operation. And they were saying that Bumper can just wake up and build, Paystack can just, yes, true, they can do that, but it's not as easy as you think, because you have to combat fraud. And Nigeria are one of the excellent fraudsters. You have to combat.
These are also businesses that combat fraud all the
And I'll just quickly try to respond to that. So the thing is that we know the problem we're trying to solve, even if, and a quick example is that if you, okay, so I'm a student and I know students who sell online. So what they do is they go to their WhatsApp and you be like, oh, if you can bring me customers, I'll give you 1 perfume, I'll give you 1 key. They put it on their WhatsApp status. Why put it on your WhatsApp status when we can make that process digital? That's what it should be on the WhatsApp status. But your WhatsApp status is only people on your WhatsApp status. What's your number? You cannot track your WhatsApp status.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
So my question is, so we have like 2 products now, kind of in one. One is the API part, the no-code part. I'm thinking, how about you have like a dashboard for that no-code part, whereby people could, like for example, when I go, they have like my own pin and I could generate my own number. I could send, so everything. So for example, I'll see how many people have referred me and what I'm giving them exact. Like it's different from the API is different, and the no-code part is different. Like doing one.
Thank you very much. And I think all this confusion is happening because like I don't have the complete pitch deck. So in my whole explanation, we have the API part, we have the no-code tool part. So the thing is like no-code 2 parts work like a request and response. There's the business which like makes the whole request of setting up the campaign, and there's the referral agent. Now these are like your own customers as a business where you get to manage that reward. So if there's a dashboard, you as a referral agent, if I can see how much I've made by referring 5 businesses on my own referral agent app, and there's also on the no-code 2 side for the businesses where you can see, oh, in this month we have had like 50 referrals, so 20 referrals and all of that.
Can it be used offline?
Offline? You won't be given offline.
Like I think like shop owners.
No, it's online.
I think you should also think about towards that, because I can do that. Like I want like all this Christmas kind of stuff. Like I want people to like come and buy from me. But how do I record? I mean, if you ever patronized me before, I can do that by recording the details here. Then with that, using your guide.
Okay, you mean like importing the data into?
No, like an offline business.
Like a manual process.
A manual process.
I think it will defeat the
it will defeat the game. So it's just like you are putting on your WhatsApp status. Please come and buy 5K t-shirt and I'll give you 100 naira. So that's
I get. Thank you.
So you still found a way to stick it?
No.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much. That is closer to what Pitch Friday is like. Now what we have is Weyinmi. So if you come, in case you want to pitch, for those who are asking, I'll send. You can just get my number later. I'll send you a link so that you can register. But if you come, you always like get questions from people. It should be like that.
WhatsApp. I think we have WhatsApp.
Oh yeah, but not everybody's on that WhatsApp.
Maybe you should make it available for you to join so that you can post whatever thing there is.
Alright, so I'll do that. I don't know. I think I'll send out an email to everyone. Alright. So thank you so much for coming. We are going to be like we come to the end of the beach. You will get
This is 3 each day.
yes, 3 people, but we don't have a last person here, and we are running out of time. We can take one more beach. I don't think we'll be able to do it. So we are doing some things. No, we don't have the time. So our landlords are also giving us out very expensive. And we don't want to pay that. So yes, we are there around, talk to people and get numbers.
Please stay on your seat for now while we share.
Okay, so in case you've not already started for Pitch Friday, you can still register. Code expires today, so you can